All right, hey guys, how's it going? This is your boy Tabletop Android. Today we're doing scenery development. So this is brand new, and I'm going to try and figure this out as we're going along. But as I'm working on some scenery, wanted to kind of take you guys for the ride and see how things are done. So we're going to do some tweaking based on some feedback that I got from KAIA, which is Alliance Municipal. So as you can see, I forgot to do this. I think that's happening with both these runways. And then there's some feedback, there's some testing that there's something I want to do with the, what do we call that? Oh, I forgot what it's called. With Carhenge, there we go. Carhenge was the thing. Alright, so let me pick for this one I try and pick a decent plane. We'll go with the Piper Arrow. Actually, we can do the Cessna. We can do the Skymaster. I enjoyed the Skymaster. So I don't know if that's like a thing, but it keeps, I pick this one. If I pick a plane, it changes it to a runway. Alright, so hopefully what I'll stop doing is giving myself only a few days to create scenery and actually give myself a proper 2-week or month cycle. So there's a couple of things that were rushed with this particular one, and now is my time to fix it. So the good thing, well, right now I haven't gotten deep in, I haven't scratched the surface with Blender. So most of my development is just using the extra models that are out there. So I have a library of models, and at some point I'm gonna have to learn how to create my own models or import my own models if I really want to up my game. But for right now, as we're learning, we'll use the existing models that are out there. Ooh, a rainy weather. I love to see the rain. Okay, so first thing we'll do is we'll load up general options, developers. We'll load up the developer tools. I like to keep this off because when you have the developer tools on, then the milestones that the sim tracks are no longer tracking. If that makes any sense. And I like to track things. Okay, we'll go to file and open. Here is my thing here. So there is, so I finally have gotten into kind of a pattern that I named the ICAO and then just a short description of the airport. There's a couple. There's this one. This project is TPC, which is the Pilot Club. There's two Pilot Club airports that I started working on, and this one is. I still need to finish this one. This one was a passion project, but I just still need to take time to finish it. So hopefully, during this series, I'll be able to get back to this and actually release it. But this is the one that we're working on right now. So I will need to make some adjustments. I use 2 monitors, but since I'm sharing one monitor, I'll need to put back some of the tools. As soon as this loads, I can show you what the tools are. Well, that's weird. Usually doesn't take this long to load. Okay. All right. Oh, that's a good bet. All right, here it is. So here is the first thing, the project editor and the inspector. Here's the project itself. Here is, I think it's a package. Here's a package. BGL, I think I don't know if it's background or, I don't know what BGL means. So let's go ahead and, so in order to do something, in order to load the rest of the windows, you'll click on your scenery, BGL, go to inspector and load an editor. Oh yeah, look at that. I try and keep the window clear, or the workspace clear. All right. So when you load in the editor, one of the things that it does is it gives you the developer camera mode. You can always toggle that off yourself. That's usually the mode that it puts you in. All right. So let's bring down some of the other elements here. I think that's all for right now. Alright, so we'll just try and make these a little harder. We'll make these a little harder to work with. So over here in our scenery editor, we have, these are all of the assets that are being used for the scenery. Whenever you have an airport, it'll give you this purple folder. You can zoom out a little bit. That blue border basically lets you know where the airport is. Oh, here it is. Yeah, this one was here's the properties and the material editor, and that is something that I use quite often as well. So let's see if I can rearrange this. I have to do a little bit. And most likely, let me see. I might have to work like this. Hey, what's up, Sayin? How are you doing, man? Good to see you, buddy. And resubscribe for 2 months, tier 1. Oh, you've been subscribed for 5 months. Wait, what? Resubscribe for 2 months at tier 1. You've been subscribed for 5 months. I love it. The 5-month submission, support. Hello there. Saying good to see you, my friend. We're doing some scenery development right now. This was the latest. Actually, you know what? I should probably change the weather so you can actually see see what I've done. Here, we'll do some few clouds. I do enjoy few clouds. So this was the Alliance Municipal Airport that we worked on. Over here is Carhenge, and this is the edit. This is the change that I'm gonna make. What are you doing streaming at this time? So I'm trying something new. If you paid close attention to my Discord, like I do for you, no. I'm trying something new. I have some developing stuff that I want to get done. Usually any kind of development stuff I do is in the morning time, so it might be nice to stream with you guys, let you guys see what's going on. And this is always good video content, so you know, killing a couple birds with one stone. All right, so here's the interesting thing about the starting point. So when you put a runway onto the scene, they give you a starting point, and you can edit the starting point. But the weird thing about it here, if you have the runway selected, here are the properties for the runway. Here's the runway start. So you can edit the positions, but as soon as you edit the positions, something weird happens, which is why I did not. So here's the thing. I'm going to go ahead and move this back, and I think it moves I believe it moves the runway as well, but I mean, everything looks fine. So maybe I'm just a crazy guy. Okay, so we'll have the starting point right at the number. We're gonna do our best to try and get it lined up. All right, so that seems decent. Pretty simple, and it looks like it did not. Let me see. So if I click off, if I click back on, okay. So the runway, if you look at the outline, the runway is now a little odd. So I'm gonna have to see if that builds properly. Well, once it builds, it could be there's a lot of glitches. So maybe the outline it's just a little, it's off, but we'll see. All right, so let's try and edit the other start point. If I can find it now. I look at Twitch that I had opened, and I was like, oh, Mark is on? Little did I know the followed channels were actually online. King, oh, I didn't realize it was King. Hey, what's up, King? What are you doing up this early? I'm trying to do some scenery development, pal. Okay, so let me see. And senior development is not all that exciting. Okay, so here's the funny part. So now I'm trying to find the other part to the end, and it's not there. So I was looking for this and the arrow pointing in the other direction, and I don't see it. See? Randomly woke up. Oh man, I had to purposely go to bed. My alarm went off at 5, and I again fell asleep, and I was like, crap, no, I wanted to do this. I've been trying to do this for a while. So I'm looking for the other arrow, and it's not there. And this is the wonderful thing about the SDK is you're like, where is this stuff? But I appreciate you guys checking in. All right, so whenever things act a little funky, we're gonna go ahead and save it. I'm constantly controlling Control S, and then we're gonna build the project. So we're gonna clean all, we're gonna remove all the files, and then we're gonna go ahead and build it again. And sometimes that'll reset whatever quirkiness is happening. So there's a bunch of errors. Sometimes it's my fault, sometimes it's not. So this one is, it failed to locate this is a JSON file. So this was I'm using some dependencies and oh no, wait, I'm not using those dependencies. Todoff. Todoff is the library that I use for the airplanes. There's lots of different lots of static airplanes. But okay. Looks like it's having a crisis. So we'll go ahead and rebuild, and we'll see if that fixes this odd issue here. All right, I love it. It changed the time of day. View files. Let's change that so you can see. All right. So here is the runway that is, I don't know if it's fixed. So I edited that position, but now I can't find the other position. So I'm gonna, hopefully, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna assume that it just did the same thing for the other side. So let's go ahead and test out that theory. What I'm going to do is we're going to close the project because I have it saved and I built it. So we're going to close it. It's going to remove the project, and then it's going to start to try and load up the assets that are supposed to be there. Sometimes you can't see it until you zoom out. And you zoom back in. All right, in this case, what I want to see is a start position. So rather than me having to put the plane there, I'm going to go ahead and go back to the main menu. And what I find interesting is I've got an i7 on this with a nice video card. That i9 processor is actually really neat. Okay, see, here it is. So it got this one right. It left this one right there, but I couldn't find it to move it back to here. So this is why I don't touch this is why I don't touch it. But it worked for this one. I didn't do anything with this one. So it's definitely some quirkiness. All right, so let's go ahead and get back in there. Saying, I think it's is it late in the day? Yeah, because I think you're like way ahead of me. So are you? I'm morning, so you're probably afternoon right now. What are you doing right now? Saying. All right. So let's get back in, let's load our recent. Here we have a project editor, so it'll load up. So I don't think I need, usually I have Fly Live when I stream, but I don't think I need it. I'm not doing any flight competitions right now. All right, scenery, inspector, load in the editor. We're going to change the, oops, we're going to change the weather so that it's all nice and hunky-dory. All right, oh, look at that. So I believe this right here is something to do with PBR. I don't know what that is, but I've learned, I've heard about it in the world of modeling, and that's something that I'll have to struggle with. All right, so what I'm curious to see is will it show my runway extended out somewhere? And it does not. So it is a glitch. Okay, look at that. And now here's my other, now I can see my other arrow, start point. So here's the runway start. We're gonna edit the position of this one. Oh, that is super annoying that we had to reload. Maybe I just had to reload the project. Maybe I'll try that next time. Okay, so what I don't know where the official starting points for airplanes are. I'm assuming it's after this threshold here. So I'm just going to get this lined up in the middle and have that start up there. All right, Bob's your uncle. We are good with that. I don't have to touch it anymore. It works. So now let me see what the outline. So look at the outline. The outline, it's now off again. So it's like it's not a perfect system. All right, so let's fix this runway over here. All right, so here we have, there goes the 2 start points. I don't know why they did not edit themselves. All right, so let's go ahead and move this one. This one was not on a perfect angle like the other one. There goes the landing markings. All right, and it almost feels dangerous to have the start point here. So I'm going to put it like right over here. All right, and so here's this is the taxi line or the runway line, and this seems, you know, I like to keep things centered. So let's go ahead and move this point so that the blue lines are over the center lines properly. There we go. All right, now I feel better about life. All right, so now let's see. So I cannot see the other because apparently I can only edit one start position at a time. Yeah, okay. So what we'll do is we saved it. We saved the scenery. I'm doing Control S all the time. And let's go ahead and try the theory of closing out the project and starting it up again. All right, so the project window is now empty. Let's go ahead and open this back up and see if it resets the render of this runway. Inspector, load in the editor. Okay, yes, okay, that's good. So that is good to know. So there's a lot of little quirky things. All right, so here's our runway. Let's go to properties, start. We're gonna edit this. So there's a primary and secondary. They always refer to the runways as primary and secondary. So here's the secondary. And this one we can start back here. I mean, it's a pretty long runway. I don't know if I want to start them right at there. All right, we'll just start them right there. All right, that is done. Yay, saved. All right, so the runway stuff is fixed. All right, so the meat and potatoes here. The main purpose of this one is to fix this. Now, having to travel there is not fun. The cool thing is that I have this folder called Carhenge, and I can double click. Oops, I can double click. There we go, and it'll shoot me over there. All right, now this I have to redo. And the reason, let me go ahead and every time I try and click, it's going to try and click into here. So I'm going to just lock this layer. Let me see. So I used the car 4 gray. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out these words. And it looks like that was the wrong model to use. And the reason why it was the wrong model is that, and when the planes are in the sky, And right now I think it's loading, not loading. Okay, so right now from this angle, most likely this is the lowest that you're gonna get without breaking any FAA rules. And it doesn't load in. It doesn't load in until you're at like this altitude. One of those altitudes. And there's a way to force it, which I haven't figured out yet. So there are two models, and I think the theory is that I need to use the other model. If I go to objects, so you have lots of different objects that you can put into the scenery. Sim objects are going to take up more processing power because there's a lot more that you can do with them. Scenery are just static objects, and then there's runways and a whole bunch of other stuff. So we're spending a lot of time in the scenery objects. So there's a bunch of different packages. The trick here is to not have people use 1,000 libraries that they have to download. So you have to know what are the base libraries. So in FS base, I guess flight simulator base, in this package, here are all the objects that they have in this package. And there's no way of like using an arrow button to cycle through it. You have to, there's a lot of clicking. Oh my gosh, so much clicking. Okay, but I am going off script here. All right. So the car, they have different cars, and what you can do is this one click place is a thing that you do to kind of preview it. So there's a black car, and then you would like click on it, and it would one click would place it in the place that you want it. But most of the times I'm using that just to preview the object. So there goes the car blue. I used car 4 gray. So I'm looking for anything that's gray. At some point I do need to like swap these out to make them a little more user or dynamic. But it was car 4 gray that we used. So this is the car 4 gray. Now they have another type, traffic car 4 gray, and I don't like how traffic car 4 gray looks. I think that was the problem. I originally didn't like how it looked. All right, so what is this? What is Henge? Oh, Henge. I called Henge 2 legs and a top. I call that Henge. All right, so let's add to the, we're gonna click the root of this folder, and when we add in this, it'll add it here. So traffic car 4 gray. Now, the theory here is that I noticed that when I was high in the sky, I was able to see the traffic as it was driving on the highway. So I was like, oh, maybe this is the model that I should be using. It's possible it has more layers of detail, because I thought that this car one was more detailed, but maybe this one is actually a better fit. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at this one and let's go up high and see if it still shows up. All right, so it looks like it came into view here. So okay, so now when does the, trying to see when do the others come into view. All right, I might have to fly around and try it out. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create one of these henges based off of this. Now here was an interesting thing, and I don't know why the designers do this. I was like, all right, cool. I'll just rotate it around. Right now I'm middle clicking to cycle through the different gizmos, or so you can do translate, which is this is the free translate. This is on the x-axis, y-axis. It's not going to do this the y. Sorry, that was the z-axis. It's not going to do the y-axis unless you uncheck snap to ground. If I do that, then it now you can go below the ground. There's a rotate where you can rotate it like this. Oop. Not what I meant. I meant to do this. Yeah. And then you can turn it. And then there's scale to make it bigger. Or smaller. Alright. Let's reset that. Alright, now I'm gonna stand this up, and then there's gonna be something interesting that happens. I'm gonna wrong direction. Alright. When I stand it up, there's no bottom. And I'm like, what in the world? And it's transparent. I was like, what? So what I've noticed is some people that are in Blender, whenever they have an object that they know that they're going to be looking at for the most part from the top, I notice that they always delete the bottom. I don't know why. But in this case, now that I'm putting it on its side, I've discovered this nonsense. So what I did to counteract that was I just used two cars and just had them face each other. All right, so let's go ahead and at least let's try and get this to stand up. And then what we're gonna do, okay, so here you have a group, and then you can move the selected object to a group, and then you can reorder and rename. So what I do is this one is going to be the new henge. So I'm gonna group this first. This is new group 62. I'm gonna rename it to traffic henge. And what the henge is going to consist of are car legs. It's going to consist of the top part, and the two legs. And that's what I'm calling a henge. All right. Oops, not rename that. I wanted to save the scenery. Okay. So now let's go ahead and duplicate this. There's a shortcut for that, but that shortcut is sometimes a little tricky as well. All right, so here is the car, and what I'm going to do is going to try to rotate it. There's the pitch, the bank, the heading. I can do it manually. I don't know how this works. Okay. And then I'm going to move it back into place and just try. So the idea is really just to kind of line up the wheels. But here's the funny thing is, because it's the 3D space, even though I just changed it on one, it's actually angled a little different. So I'm gonna need to change this angle. All right, and for the most part, that'll work. Oh no, now we have this. So now we have to find the happy medium, and then just kind of, tweak our way in. So I'm using the wheels as a matching point. And what's going to be funny is, as soon as I start to look at that wheel didn't match up, but it's not rocket science. Okay. So now when I need to now pivot or rotate this whole thing this way. So here I have one item selected, so I can select two items, then I can rotate them, and look at that, it starts to act all weird. All right, so let me see here. Let's ungroup them and see if it works better. Okay, looks like it does work better. Okay. All right, so there goes one of my ew, yucky. All right, let's move this back a little bit. All right, there we go. And let's take a look at the other side. I mean, you know what? We'll just have to deal. All right, so let's try looking at it from this perspective. We'll switch that around. All right, so that wheel looks, okay. This one looks okay. All right, I think I'm happy. Let's save it. All right, so now I'm going to group these two, and I'm going to call these the legs. And then I'm going to duplicate this folder, and I'm going to move that to the side. So here we have the legs, and then I'm going to duplicate this one. And actually, the reason why I'm duplicating, it has to do a lot with this GUID. If I keep adding in here manually a new object, it gets a new GUID, and that means that the GPU is going to have to process that. So if it has the same GUID, then it'll process once, and then it'll just render, you know, it'll be less taxing on the GPU to render. So all of these objects right here is one object that I guess the CPU has to render, and then, which is the heavy load, and then the GPU just has to render it, and it seems to be fine. All right. All right, so I have the legs. Now let's go ahead and duplicate this one, and we're gonna move that here, and then I'm gonna call this the top. Nope, not that. Click on that, and we'll call this the car top. Or we can just do top like that. All right, so now let's actually make this the top. So we can rotate it back. I'm middle clicking to cycle between the different items here. All right, so now we have to make this look a little realistic as best we can. Like, what would the weight, at what point does it look like it's not floating? Which I think we got it. Put it down a little bit. Put it down too much, like right there maybe. All right, I think that's it. Okay, so we have a traffic version of the Henge, and I'm gonna put that out here, and then we have the regular one. Okay, so let's go ahead and save that, and then we're gonna test it out as we do a flyby. And it almost looks like it happens at the same time. So just in this case, that loads. Okay, there is, maybe we don't have to do a flyby. There are some tools, and I don't really use the tools very well. So there is Um, this is for debugging. I think it's static profiler. No, that's not it. There's something else. Something else that I was using. Let me see here. Behaviors, packages, ruler. That's a screenshot. Those are the editors, the options, and there's something that I can do with the. There goes PBR channels. I don't know what that means. The simulation. I'm looking for the level of detail, is the LOD. And there's a way that you can force it. This is the frames per second, wireframe, debug model LODs. Okay, this one. Now, I don't fully understand LODs. Level of detail, so to my understanding, is that at a certain distance, there will be a different model that will load that's easier on the GPU. That's as far as my understanding is. So, and it's actually, and it changes all the time. So as you can see from out here, it's red. And then as I get closer, the numbers change. So that's the thing that I don't fully understand. So it looks like this level of detail, this model only has one level of detail. As opposed to this, it looks like 0.5. So it looks like this has more models. So there's one. And because I have so many on here, it's a little hard. It's a little hard. All right, but I believe that this tool right here is a way of forcing a certain one of them. Draw count. So display. So I can get rid of that. I can freeze a selection. Enable force active LOD. Okay, so here I can force it. Okay, so here. So from far away, this is what the this is what the model will look like. And then as I get closer, well, I think it only had 5. So as I get closer, it starts to build the detail. Then it gets more detailed. So the LOD 0 is basically me being super close. So this one only has the one level of detail. So regardless of what I force it, so I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. If I zoom out, because at some point they don't load. All right, so we're gonna test it like that, because I don't know how to take advantage of this right now. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna build this project and then we're gonna try it out. Let's go back to this. We're gonna build all. You don't have to clean it every time, but if there's something that is conflicting, like I've noticed with fences. If I put in a fence and then it builds, it seems to kind of stay there. So I'll have like a layer of fences. All right. So let's double click and get back to the airport. Let's do our fast travel. Now, here is another glitch that I personally am experiencing. I don't believe all developers are experiencing this. When I get out of dev mode, in order to turn the plane on, my sim crashes. Don't know why it does that, but it does. So we're gonna close this project, and I think I've circumvented it by going back to the main menu. All right, so let's get out of developer camera because it will stay. If you do developer camera and you exit the dev mode, it'll keep you in dev camera, which is not what we want. In dev camera, we can't use these options. All right, so let's exit dev mode. And you can see here that it didn't load up the scenery. So sometimes it's a level of detail kind of thing, or render something, I don't know. So if I zoom out and then zoom back in, it'll be there. All right, so let's go ahead and just cycle through. I think I've tried to do a restart and it didn't work, so I had to do something. All right, so I think from here, all right, so now we have the proper starting points for the planes. And now I should be able to start the plane without not crashing the system. All right, so it's 7 o'clock my time. And I think I'm trying to do this for an hour or an hour and a half. So this is going to be the test, and then we'll wrap it up after this. And so the goal is to do this every day, because I have development work that I need to be doing. So this is keeping me accountable, which I don't like. And so this is keeping me accountable. And it's hopefully entertaining or educating you guys as well. So hopefully there's a symbiotic relationship. All right, so we won't be able to see the stuff very well during rain. So let's do clear skies. It is nighttime. So let's. There we go. All right, so this should be it. Let's go ahead, and this was the last thing that I flew. All right, let's see if I can do a Control E on this one. Looks like I can. All right, I'm digging it. All right, so we have avionics. So the avionics works this time. It did not work last time. And I do like my GTN 750, so we'll go with that. All right, so beacon, nav, we'll put the taxi lights on, and we're good there. All right, sounds good. What direction is the wind? The wind is blowing from... Oh, I gotta sneeze. I think we will... the wind is blowing in that direction, so we will take off that way. Thanks, King. Appreciate it. All right, so let's take off the... parking brakes. I mean, we're kind of just testing right now. We're not logged into VATSIM or anything, so we can actually just do a taxi takeoff. Let's see if we can do that. This is a pretty long taxiway. I'm just trying to get this bird in the sky. I could actually slew it too, but this is more fun. So we have we're hitting 80 knots, so should be plenty of speed to take off. All right. Flaps up. All right, we don't want to break the engines, but we can't. But we're gonna put our RPMs down into the green. All right, so this point of interest is just north of the city. So there goes the city of Alliance. And this one throws me off a little bit, but the altitude already, we're at 4,800. So the altitude, I'm always used to flying in very low altitudes places or elevation. So this one is already, I think the surface elevation is like 3,000, or I think it's 4,000. So to be honest, and the reason I'm saying that is I don't know how far up I am from the ground. I haven't figured out how to calculate that. So some planes have a radar, a radar. I think it's a radar something another, where it measures the ground altitude, the ground elevation. All right, so here is. So 5,000, I believe 5,000 feet is, you know, this is like the FAA regulation. Radar altimeter. Thank you, King. Radar altimeter. All right, so this is the road that'll take us to that point of interest. There's the city of Alliance. So what I did not calculate when I was doing this is that most pilots are going to, most pilots are going to try and fly as real as they can. So this is not a point of interest that they will actually be able to see at high altitudes. All right, so here it is. And it's not on, so right now it's not until I get closer or lower that you'll actually be able to see it. So there looks like there's some things that are rendering, but I don't think it's, I think it's part of the map and not really the models. So I'm gonna say that it's not, because the model that I have did not render. So we're at 5,600. So let's go down lower. Let's go down lower and then let's see when it actually starts to render. So let's get down to 5,000 and let's see. So now we're at 5,000, kind of. Let's do another pass by and see if the models will render. And it doesn't look like it is. So we're gonna have to get, okay, there. So when you got closer, but they all loaded at the same time. So it seems that it seems to be the same problem. It doesn't load until you get, close. So all right, that's fine. I'm assuming that this is going to be fixed in 2024 because they said everything is going to be 3D models instead of flat. All right, so let's try and get a little lower and then we'll see. So we're at 4,700. Let's get to 4,500. Let's see if that does anything. I think that's it over there. Maybe I missed it. Okay, that's it. So it's not my altitude, but it's how close I am to the element. So it should have already, yeah. So it rendered at the same time. So okay, so that I think that busts my theory. Okay, which is fine. All right, since we have a lot of open space, let's just go ahead and take advantage of this and land. Brick. I mean, I did come in at like 100 knots. All right, there we go. Nice, smooth. All right, let's not give you guys vertigo. All right, so we can actually kill this. It's not really necessary. We can go ahead and turn off the power. Save on some of that juice. All right, let's jump back into the developer mode. All right, now let's see what happens when we try and load from way out from way out here. Most of the time you're loading the scenery. You're usually there. So we're waiting for that project editor to show up. There it is. Put you in an inspector, scenery, inspector, and load. Okay, so interesting is that normally I'm used to this bouncing up and down, so it looks like it did not do any of that. So let's get into here. Okay, so the good thing is that I can keep this. I don't have to use this traffic one. It didn't do anything, and I've learned that this model actually has more level of detail, which is a good thing because it kind of tiers as you get closer and closer. So I can go ahead and delete this. Glad I only made one. I don't need it. The interesting thing about I can't hide things, so like I can hide the, let me see here, which one? I can hide it while I'm working, but when you do a build, it doesn't matter what you've hidden, as long as it's in this editor, it's going to be a part of the final package shown. All right, so I have my thing set up. So there are some dependencies. So this is the emerald, the scenery design, I think, and then this is animated humans. So sometimes I'll just hide all of it in case I need to do something. The other thing that I wanted to do is I learned that, so this place is an interesting thing, and I don't know, I don't know what the usage is going to be like. Are people actually going to come here and take a tour? Or if this is just a thing that they're going to fly over. But I did find it interesting. So these little spots right here, these are actually like art exhibits or art pieces. I saw that there was like a dinosaur and there were a dragon or something. So I'm gonna select all packages. I'm gonna look. One of them was like a big fish. So let me see if there's a fish. There's a bondfish diorama. I'm gonna do the one-click placing just to get it to render. And it may or may not. I don't. Okay, there it is. So I don't know what that is. Okay, this is a diorama. What was I thinking of? Okay, not what I want. Okay, there goes a cathedral. I don't want that. There goes a big fishing boat. So what I'm looking for, I want to see if there's a fish model that I can use. Stadium, seafront. So that looks like a boat. You know, maybe I could put a boat on there. So, okay, so now that I've, you know, there's an idea. I need to make sure that it's in the FS base or the Asobo model or something where the user doesn't have to download an extra library. So this one is from, there's a seafront sightseeing vessels. There's a seafront library that is in the marketplace. I don't remember if I had to pay for it or if it was free. But basically I did fish and I did all. So there's not there. So I can filter by just FS base. And here's the fish. Here's the okay, good. So this fishing boat. Oh, interesting. All right. So let's see if I could find a decent boat and then I'll scale it down. So these are kind of, I'm taking these as like art exhibits. So this was an interesting, I can say that someone scaled this. So here we have Carhenge, fencing, parking, car leg. Oh, okay. I see what happened. Under here, I have art pieces. So there's from this dependency menu, there were 2 pieces that I used. Okay, so I can create a folder. So here in Carhenge. Okay, so now that this Carhenge folder is getting a little more complicated with things that aren't directly related, I'm going to group all of these car legs and hinges. I'm going to group them, and then I'm going to because I don't know, hinges, main hinge, main hinges. That's what I'll call it. Sound like I'm saying minges. All right, so there's parking, there's the fencing models that I'm using. So now I'm going to do an art piece. So I'm going to add this. Did I add it? Where did it go? Click on add. Okay, there we go. There goes the church. I'll unselect this one. So this I'm gonna make a part of the art pieces because I'm gonna use more models. All right, and this one I'm just going to scale this down because it doesn't make. Oh, nope, it's actually the red one. Oh, what in the world? Oh boy, this thing just went to. It just went to the quantum realm. I'm gonna move this here. So this will be an art piece, but I'll need to figure out how to get more control of this. So I'm gonna scale this. Okay, so this right here is the scale. Why is the scale 1? That's not right. All right, either way, this is a decent size. We'll say that someone made this a diorama. But actually, it would be a little smaller. So let me see if I could do a 0.9. A 0.8. Okay. So what I could do, because this is here, I could go ahead and remove this like I did over here. So here is the, oh, I think they had some stuff on there. What did I do with this polygon? I'm looking to see if I had any. I didn't add any materials. Okay, so I was just using it to, there must have been some stuff on here. Let's see, because I don't remember what was on there. Let's move this out of the way and see what pops up. I think there might have been, yeah, okay, there's some buildings, there's something on here. That's what it was. All right, it's all good. Yeah, so I can put some effort into that. I'm not really sure, so I'm just gonna leave this right here. And I do want to put one of the boats, and then I'll go. All right, so let me see. We have that. There's a fortress. What are these fortresses? Oh, these are neat. There's a stadium. All right, this one has some more color, so I'm gonna use this one. All right, so it's in the art pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and add it, and then we're gonna go ahead and scale it down. And then this is where I'm gonna create, what's the word here? Use some creative freedoms. So I'm gonna scale it down, and then I'm gonna kind of like tilt it or do some stuff. I don't know. I don't know yet. Let's go ahead and make this do like this. All right, that looks fun. Control S to save. So we have like different people just hanging about. Here we have this guy proposing or tying her shoes. Not sure which one. She doesn't seem very interested. We have a little bit of this guy's bored. She's walking around. This kid's always around throwing rocks. Okay, so we have a little bit more art pieces. I'll eventually add more art pieces to it, but this is that. So let me see here. Okay, so at this point do I finish this and then publish it immediately? I'm gonna say no, because what I don't like is because there's no automated way of updating the scenery. You have to manually download it, then you have to extract it and put it in the right place. My process is, I've gotten it down to a science now, but add-ons linker is by far the best tool ever made. So thank you for the developer that made this. This is the best thing. This makes it so easy to deal with stuff. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take I am going to mark this as a different version, so let's just do that. So we're going to save the scenery. So there's the project to save, and then there's the scenery. So if you make any changes in here, you'll have to save it. You'll have to save the project. So instead of the scenery, we'll now click on the project itself, and then when we go to inspector, we'll have a different set of properties. And one of them is the version number. So this is not, so here we have major, minor, and bug fixes. So 0.1.0. This one is more along the lines of a bug fix. Is it a bug fix? Yes, part of it was a bug fix. I fixed the runway, but I'm also adding more art pieces. So the art pieces would be considered a feature, and the runway fix would be considered a bug. So at this point, actually, the version that I will release will be a 0.02. So here we have this. This is the official version. Here's the release notes. If I click the plus button, then I can add some details. So I did not do this for a while. I did not realize what this meant. So here's the version number. Here's the date, 2024. This is August, and today is the 6th. And then I can say fixed runway start positions, and added more art pieces to Carhenge. All right, now this is part of the project. So if I go back here, see how I have the option to save. So now I can save the project. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and do a build, because what the build does, if I show you the project structure, if I go to my projects, so here's the project. Here's the XML file for the main file, but right here we have this packages folder. So anytime I do a build, it's actually building the package and putting it into this. So really, when I release the package to flightsim.to, it's basically, this is what I'm releasing. I go ahead and right click and I compress it to a zip file, and then Bob's your uncle. All right, so this is finished building, 0 errors. That's great. All right, so at that point I can go ahead and close this out. I'm done with this for right now. We're gonna take off developer camera. We're gonna exit that. Okay, so let's go ahead and exit the project. All right. Okay, so I think that was a good session. I got some stuff done, and hopefully you guys learned a little bit more about the developing world with Microsoft Flight Sim. Now there's a lot more. I'm not doing any planes yet. So at some point, I'd like to progress. It seems like scenery is the gateway drug to doing more stuff with Flight Sim. It's introduced me into the SDK, and then now it's forced me to learn Blender and all of these other modeling terms and these other terms that I would not have been aware of. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and call it a day. Let me go ahead and figure this part out. Okay, so we worked a little bit more on Alliance Municipal. King Easy, appreciate you being here, hanging out. Saying thank you for resubscribing and for your continued financial support. Appreciate it. So you guys enjoy your rest of your day. I think, yeah. So I'm not gonna pass the party on. There's not a lot of people on. I don't know, King, if you're going to continue watching more. Actually, do you want us to raid somebody, or do you want to call it a morning? Because you just got up. We're gonna give him 5 seconds to respond. All right, sounds good. All right, well, thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it, and we'll hopefully do this again tomorrow if I go to bed on time. All right, gang, take it easy.